ready.
Thank you so much, Zoe. You know, I would say excellent work, Desk, for filling so much time, but also you did kind of overcook it. I mean, freaking Danny switched his prediction to Mexico halfway through. What the heck was that about? All right. I mean, he has faith in Mexico. I mean, they have a good team. You know, OWWC is a great player that we saw in the qualifiers, Moxie. So, you know, maybe this match could be an upset like Danny thinks.
Yeah, like you said, we did get to follow Mexico in the qualifier. They were able to come in third for Group A, so did just manage to make it in. It went down to the absolute wire, though. The very, very, very last match of the entire conference was between Mexico and Puerto Rico. Mexico were able to take the win, thus advance forward to the very stage that they are, going up against Finland. This is a really important one for both of these teams, as the desk did talk about. These two teams are in Group A. South Korea is also a part of Group A, and with only the top 2 teams in every single group advancing, every single win is going to matter to the rest of those 3 teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very important matchup here on our hands. And, you know, obviously got the likes like the desk mentioned with Masa coming back, a veteran of the scene. You know, I was on a team with him at one point. He's, you know, I always think about Finnish people, Moxie. You know, they always like... I don't know. It's hard for them to kind of like assimilate with everybody else, you know, in a team environment. But maybe with like the other Finnish players, they just kind of reach another level, right? Like with the... Am I cooking a little too hard here, Moxie?
Well, like Voltron, 5 of them just formed together to make a super thing?
Yeah. Exactly. And also the lineup's a little bit different. But, you know, obviously, yeah, it's like... Masa and Finland have always, you know, performed pretty well. Obviously, with a bit of a different lineup leading into this one, are going to start on Mecha Base first.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing Mexico coming in with, I believe, actually, the name tag should be switched. We're going to see Finland coming through with Vestola on the Sigma, and Mexico opting to run castles on the Orisa. A lot of defensive capability, but that Bastion is going to force that fortify so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, they're immediately walled off, counter wall by Cloud. Immortality Field committed on both sides. Castle goes so low, but the Immortality Field keeps him healthy. Also hits the Javelin onto Cloud, and then the wall was there from OWWC too. Perfect coordination from the likes of Mexico as they wipe Finland, sending them back to the spawn doors and taking the objective first.
All of that damage contributed. Sona has almost built up the artillery strike, but because Castle was able to be kept up by Momo, he's already got an amplification matrix to be able to use to make pushing through this choke so punishing.
Now they have to come back through. Counter wall comes through after wall is committed by Cloud. Both teams also dropping a Baptiste window there from Momo's side. Forces out Finland for now. No kills, though, in this fight just yet. Immortality Field committed from Finland temporarily to make sure this brawl goes in their favor. Also drops a counter wall from Mickey's side. With all of that Bastion damage from Sana, it's just too much to deal with, even with the Blizzard to free Sana. They don't think they have the follow-up damage in the situation. Onhel's able to find Sana and Mickey, but then gets stagger killed by Finland, who then walks towards that point to flip it in the 40 percentile. Has
been able to build up the overclock, however, so even though Cloud is going to be able to come into this next fight with that Blizzard to potentially combo up with the Stolar's Flux, Angel Velado with the Sojourn, with the mobility, the power slide, can mitigate a lot of that threat and pop the overclock to make sure that they don't get any value from it.
Everybody Flux available here on the inside. Sana, though, able to find Castle before they even need to use it. Just commit a beat drop there from Masa. Good communication from the support line of Finland. Also, their team in general, I mean, just off of that beat, able to get the kills there, even though Angel popped to the overclock.
Yeah, they were really trying to pressure Vestola as well. OWWC on that May going right for the Sigma to try and burn through him as quickly as possible. Not able to find the kill off of that Sound Baron. As a result, they hold on to the choke and have 3 ultimates to make it incredibly punishing for Mexico, who lose the Orisa before they're able to break out into the more open space and place themselves into a position where they're not going to be able to have to worry about the Bastion's transformation.
Sana absolutely being a star player at the moment, just through that damage. Mexico can't do anything now, 50% on the board. Tough for them to recontest.
Paralet's going to have a Sound Barrier, but Mexico may well have to use it. That's a fat finger of an Immortality Field, I feel like. As Paralet does have the Sound Barrier to try and break out of this choke, but Immortality Field, they're going to have to wait. They can't push until it comes back in cooldown.
Well, look at Angel's flank. I mean, he's all the way across the map on the bridge. No angle, though, because of the pillar in this fight. Sana does turn back for him. They're actually deciding what to do here. Angel being in this position really confuses Finland at the moment. They have to use the immortality field. The Blizzard did come out, so they're able to kill Momo. The beat drop not there in time to save him. And now Mexico, I mean, they have the beat, but eventually it gets worn off. They did capture the point with Angel coming back and making sure he was still that nuisance in the back line, but it is flipped back for Finland.
Yeah, and Vasola's still got the Sigma Flux, Sauna's still the artillery strike, so if Mexico try and go for one of those sneaky flanks with either the Overclock or a Blizzard, Sauna's going to be able to buy back all of the space that Mexico tries to take away from them, as yet again, they have to push through a choke into a Bastion.
And there's that Gravitic Flux. Paulette goes into the air. Immortality field here, but not in there, not in the area to save Paulette. Estella also finds Momo, so no more heals here. The Blizzard eventually will connect onto some of the members of Finland, but it might be far too late. Overclock from Angel. It's just him alive. Surely can't even touch the objective. And yeah, no, Finland will be taking Mecha Base, which is round 1. Yeah,
Orisa is an incredibly selfish tank. And what I mean by that is she's very good at keeping herself alive and only herself. Javelin Spin really doesn't have that wide a radius of effect. It's nowhere near as effective as something like the Diva's Matrix. And as a result, while your Orisa may be able to just chunk through all of the damage output that's coming through from Finland's side, the rest of the team not so much. And every single thing that you invest in keeping that Orisa up just depletes the rest of the team's resources. And as a result, it was down to the DPS to try and make those star plays, which worked out for a little bit, but Finland, however, had the numbs advantage, had the abilities, the resources, and still things like Immortality Field, and were able to just hold on to the choke far longer than Mexico wanted.
Mexico now rocking the Doomfist for this map, or this round in particular. Momo also over to the Ana. Paulette maybe over to that Mercy. A bit of a pocket pick for Chobolux there in the sky. 15 seconds before the point unlocks on the map with the train. Angel able to find Mickey too. Nice shot from him with that charge up shot. I mean, forces Finland to be in a bit of a precarious situation. Now they don't have their Baptiste. A lot of the heals removed now. Angel's able to find Sana. Chobolux finds Cloud. Point now unlocks as well. Mexico wins that first fight.
Yeah, it's honestly a smart counter coming through from Mexico. Castle coming onto that Doomfist is actually going to force the swap off of the Bastion. The Bastion wants to play around the Sigma so that you have the safety that the Sigma provides. But if you're playing too close to the Sigma, multiple players are going to get punched by that Doomfist, and that provides the opening for the Echo to be able to drop in entirely unimpeded. As a result, Cloud flexes onto the Cassidy.
Okay, onto the cast. Throws that nade onto Castle, forcing the back up after it hindered him temporarily. Mexico is sitting around that point now. Finland's so close to getting that cap through, but doesn't eventually come through. The nade, though, slows down Finland for now. Perfect immortality build from Mickey. Nobody deletes it in time. Masa does get traded out by Chobolux, but Sana and Cloud able to find 2 in that fight. Now Angel on the other side looking for Sana on the recall. Able to look for that backline a bit more. Also, they're still even in this fight, but with Vistola and Cloud, that's a lot of damage. Looks into the sky after finding Angel on the low ground. Now after, he has to deal with Chobolux, who gets that copy. Now able to go for that backside. Eventually gets taken out of the copied form, but is the damage already done? No, because Cloud's able to find him. Castle, though, with the Nano Boost, able to get Masa, so that's some healing removed, as well as some good needed pressure from Finland's side. They did flip the point, however, causing Mexico to now back up as they've lost a bit of positioning.
Yeah, and Castle came back in on the Winston spill, try and dive into the backline and also give that Nano Boost a little bit more threat to it. Comes in immediately with the bubble, jumps out before he can actually get hit by the accretion coming through from Vistola, so the Winston will not go down early. Lovely anti-nade connects onto Finland's backline, forcing the immortality field, and as a result, Angel Velada's trying to find a kill of the Overclock, but he goes out to the Flux.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Vistola just targeted him, knowing that was the target to remove. Only ultimate for Mexico gives them that first kill. And now they're going to actually go back through that point and still have that objective advantage.
Yeah, Mexico, you can see, actually had to swap off of the Echo, understanding that Finland with control of all of this space. The hit scan of the Cassidy just becomes too overwhelming for the Echo, even with a Mercy Pocket, to be able to deal with. Now it's going to be up to that Tracer to try and infiltrate the backline, but easier said than done, especially since Master is on the Brigida to be able to safeguard Mickey's position.
Yeah, Vistola's kind of noticed that Angel keeps going alone, just trying to make sure he kind of focuses on him, targets him a bit. Momo also does take down the immortality field from Finland's side. They kept Cloud alive during the high noon, but no kills come of it. Mexico, though, still don't have a lot of position here, even though they're fighting for a lot of it. They have to keep backing up now, understanding Finland's in a great position. They want to push off of this Cloud. Nice kill from him on the pallet. The nano boost is here, but they're already down 2 members. 85% on the board as well. It's dicey for the likes of Mexico at the moment, as even with the nano boost, they're able to kill Castle. 91% of the board now. I don't know if Mexico can even touch the objective.
That is not a fight you wanted prolonged, and unfortunately, you lost 3 key players before it finished up. OWWC is able to come in with the pulse bomb and at least tap, but unfortunately, all that does is draw out Immortality Field, and Finland's going to be able to take that one nice and cleanly. It's so unfortunate for Mexico, and it's so smart from Finland. They see all of these ultimates coming out from Mexico's side inside room with that health pack, and they just decide to bait out that fight as long as possible, understanding that even if they lose 1 or 2 players, they're still going to be able to have something like the Cassidy to be able to play bouncer when Mexico eventually tries to come contest before it hits into 100%.
I'm going to preface this by saying I love Mexico, and I think they have a lot of good, talented players, but man, I feel bad for Danny here, Moxie. I mean, he just got sold snake oil. Like, Jesus, like, Finland looks so good in that map specifically. Obviously, things can change, maybe leading into the future maps, Moxie, but, I mean, that was kind of a dominant first map for Finland.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Like you said, there was one big thing that just happened time and time again from Mexico's side, and Finland started reading into it and punishing it. And that is that when the dives came through, a lot of it was very isolated. And as a result, we didn't really get to see all of the team working together to be able to chunk the targets down low. Instead, Finland saw that by pushing these players in one by one, Mexico were elongating all of these fights voluntarily by their own hand. So all Finland had to do was put something in like a Cassidy with Burden Nade, and it just meant that the dive never really got off the ground.
I mean, just great work from the DPSs of Finland, and overall as their team, you know, kind of shut them down there. Obviously, a lot of great work from the Stola, too, with that Gravitic Flux to shut down
that
Angel.
Flux was huge.
Really, yeah.
That Flux could actually have changed the entire layout of the pacing between both of those teams, the entire power dynamic. Because the reason why Finland was so scary when they actually swapped to the Cassidy, they forego the Lucio, they forego the rotation and the speed, which means that they should be vulnerable in the rotations. And that's something that Mexico could have punished, but they were never able to oust them off the point. The Cassidy always had control, it was always his turn, because they were never able to find that team wipe they were looking for. And that Flux, that was the one moment that they had to maybe get the door open, and Vestola banged it shut in their face.
Mexico, the pick coming through will be Paraíso. It's going to be that map. Number 2, like I said, in this series between Finland, maybe they think Paraíso was going to be a good one for their team in particular, but we'll have to see after a short break, and we'll see you guys for that number 2. Welcome back, everybody. Between this series between Finland and Mexico, Finland currently are up 1 in the matchup in the first of 2, so obviously 1 more, and they'll be feeling pretty good about themselves and their chances going against the likes of Team Korea. Moxie. We actually have a bit of a sideline reporter, a bit of information on the side from Emily, maybe to give us some more information. She talked to some of the teams before the game, so we'll have to see what she says. Emily, what's going on? What do you have to say about these 2 teams?
Thank you so much, Dustin and Moxie. So good to be back at Overwatch World Cup again. So I was able to chat a little bit with Team Mexico and Team Finland. So I figured, what are the greatest strengths from your team? And Team Mexico said, I think our strengths are Angel Volato, Paulette, and Momo. It's our coordination on the different compositions, and they are just absolute gods of technical gameplay. And when I asked Team Finland, their response were, I think our greatest strengths are that we're feeling confident. We know that we'll get through the group with our default game. And even though South Korea is obviously a massive team to beat, I think we're ready for them as well. Well, that's all I have. Stay tuned for some new juicy bits, and back to you guys, Dustin and Moxie.
Thank you, Emily. I mean, obviously, Finland boasting a lot of confidence. Meanwhile, Mexico, I mean, kind of a similar thing on their end. You know, obviously a bit of a a younger team, newer team as well, Moxie, as the desk brought it up. So, you know, it's a big hill to climb versus the likes of Mexico. But, you know, as Emily said, you know, maybe they could do it with their mechanical skill with the likes of Angel Bellotto.
Yeah, there are two things I'm taking, especially from the Finland POV. One, they said play their default game, which immediately says to me that they're saving something in the pocket as a curveball to be able to surprise all of these teams, because obviously, you're not just going to be facing up against the teams in your group, right? If you make it into the top 2, you're going to be moving on to face all of the other groups. And that means if you're playing on broadcast, you don't want to give away all of your secrets. We already saw in the first matchup of the series, when we saw Great Britain versus Canada, exactly how important being able to do the homework, check the VOD, it is for everyone behind the scenes, for the coaches, the analysts, the managers, to be able to better equip the team. If you can get through group stages with a little bit of a surprise still up your sleeve, you're gonna be in a really good position. The second thing is that that's your answer, Zoe. Some of these teams are definitely prepping for South Korea because they want to be the ones that go up against one of the favorites and show us, okay, maybe there's some other teams still to play for this cup.
Yeah, Zoe's analysis there is definitely one of the takes of all time, with the you know, teams being a bit of a doomer mindset, maybe, you know, just give up versus South Korea, you know, throw the towel in. But you know, honestly, she's not wrong. Like, it's just like from the outsider perspective, the likes of Korea are such a dominant team that it's, you know, it's hard to you know, have the mental fortitude to go against them.
Are we gonna see an opening grapple shot successful for Sorna? Oh, Chobolux's life flashed before his eyes. Thankfully, it wasn't a headshot, and that echo is still gonna be flying in the sky.
Good body shot there in that situation. Mexico now sitting at the choke point. Like this composition for them in particular, having Chobulux on the echo again, so maybe sticking towards that Doomfist composition could lead them to some victory here. But Finland kind of walking through their steps, progressing to the window of this point. Sana looking for the tank player of Castle, meanwhile has to deal with Angel, and he does. Amazing kill from him. Had some help there too from the Brigitte. Able to get that shield from Masa, the pack from Masa. Now Castle goes so low. I mean, they just worked them down. Mexico tried it back up. Maybe they can get a recontest off some respawns, but that was clinical from Finland.
Yeah, really good recall coming through from Sorna to just cancel out the stickies and deny that ult charge going into Chobolux's pocket. Cloud on the Cassidy hasn't been doing that much in terms of damage, but his sheer presence has been stopping this Echo from being able to close up the distance. And now that point A has been picked up, and they don't really have to worry about just Mexico having all of those high ground and sharp corners, they're going to actually put Cloud onto the Bastion to make sure that Chobulux is still not able to jump through. Castle swapping onto the Winston as well. That bubble's going to be burst within seconds if the Bastion has anything to say against it.
And both teams trying to control this inside room, walk through with the defensive matrix onto the Bastion, making sure no kills can be found. Sana again coming out on top versus Angel. That's 2 in a row now for Sana over the Tracer player of Mexico. Allows this card to keep pushing forward because he was the only one that was maybe going to be able to delay that payload. They have to wait for him to come back out of spawn to Finland. They could press the go key right now, opt to push in, and they do so. Cloud's able to find Chobulux. No more Echo available. That's a lot of damage removed. And you would think for Mexico, maybe they have to back up even further because I imagine Finland wants to keep pushing more and more into Mexico's side, maybe force some ultimates out of it.
Yeah, Vastola is a monster on the D.Va, and he's been doing so much to make sure that Paolette on this Mercy is forced to use the GA too early, back up, move away from the Echo pocket, and that's when the Echo gets pressured by the rest of Finland and goes down. And as a result, Mexico haven't really been able to find any standing ground to be able to try and use the high ground advantages as Finland try and approach. Duplication comes out from Chobulux onto the Bastion, will be able to get artillery strike off, baits out the lamp from Mickey's side, but immediately after that he's popped back into the Echo form, and it's still all of the kills in favor of Finland.
What an absolute wild fight. I mean, Finland trying to close it out here. Now Castle eventually did fall, like you said, 3 meters left to go before they get that full cap. Nobody, I mean, there's one person on the payload to touch it, but eventually Chobulux will fall. And Finland have a monstrous time bank leading into third phase as the Stolas keep pushing forward, playing so well. 8 that pulse bomb earlier. The sleep dart comes through, but eventually gets woken up and takes out Momo.
That's a stagger on both of the supports as well. Mexico is going to be swapping up a couple of things as we move into point C. A ceiling does come into play, so the Echo is going to be replaced by a Hanzo. Momo, as a result, does not have to be on the pocket. and will swap on to the Alari with Paulette going over to that Baptiste off of the Mercy. And Jovelato still going to be sticking on that Sojourn. Are we going to be able to see any opening shots coming through as Cloud does go onto the May himself to be able to block out a lot of that poke pressure coming through from both of those snipers?
I mean, this is tough. I mean, two awful things that happen in Mexico right now. They're getting staggered, and the cart just keeps getting pushed for free. So nearly 4 minutes and 15 seconds left, and basically last corner to go around. Pistola is able to find Angel as well before any support can come through for him. And now the rest of Mexico just back up again, gets staggered here. I mean, that's one kill. Now Choblus gets killed on the Hanzo. Paulette eventually will fall. At least they died together, but Moxie, no ultimates on the Rika test. I mean, what do you do here as Team Mexico?
Dustin, has Pistola been demeched yet?
I don't think so. Nobody even touches. Nobody even touches.
Vestola, even if Mexico had been alive, remember they all got staggered, and Vestola is in prime position to be able to just boost in and body block so that Mexico isn't able to tap.
Moxie, they can't. Oh, never mind, I'm not going to say it. I ruined it already. Yeah, Mexico, obviously, pretty rough situation there for them. Finland now move on to the defensive side. Looking like a very dominant team right now. I mean, that's the biggest takeaway from this is like Mexico looked solid in the qualifiers versus even the likes of, Team USA. But coming in today versus Finland, Finland just looks like a well-oiled machine, huh?
Yeah, they did not allow Mexico any moment to breathe. Any moment on this map that you think is defensively favored was just swept out from Mexico's feet because they never really got to stand anywhere. Vestola was being such a thorn in their backside with the Diva, with the boosters, just continuing to apply pressure onto the Mercy. We're going to get to a couple of replays here coming through. Vestola using the accretion to be able to land onto Castle mid-air, so he's not able to regroup with the rest of his team. Like, Mexico were coming in with a game plan. Field the Doomfist, create an uproar, create dissent, so that the Echo can just push in with that little bit less attention on them and find a kill, especially with the Mercy pocket. But Finland never allowed Mexico to be able to play 5 men into these fights. They were constantly just applying pressure on every single one of these players individually.
Now they have to go on their offensive side after kind of a horrific defense on their side. Maybe they have to decide if they want to switch up compositions to Moxie. It looks like they're going right to that Sigma composition.
Sauna with the set Bastion nade, by the way, connecting onto Mexico's spawn alley and picks up 13% ult charge in the opening moments. Roblox goes onto the main to be able to block out a lot of that Bastion poke. Momo, with that Alari, takes a lot of pressure, however, as the Bastion nade threads the needle through the Sigma shield and still connects onto the players behind.
Trying to get Cloud on this off angle. Has to wall off for himself, but actually finds Paulette there. I mean, what do you do about that? They didn't even throw their immortality field down in time. Cloud as well finds Choblux. Masa eventually on the castle. Then tough first fight for Mexico as already nearly minutes off the clock.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate as a Baptiste when you do miss time throwing that immortality field, because a lot of the time, one, you lose the player that you tried to throw it in to save originally, and then it just gets burnt out. And at that point, the enemy team is so close with a May doing 100 damage per second with that endothermic blaster. Mexico are just gone within moments. At least silver lining for the team, it's fast.
They're going to try to ignore him in this fight. It looks like just move towards that point, but actually now double back onto Cloud, who has built up that Blizzard very quickly. Going to be the first ultimate in the lobby. Usually don't see Maze build up that ultimate so quickly, but he's got it ready to go. Drops down behind, sees that slow Paulette, just walls him off. Blizzard is here. Immortality field deleted. Both the Sigma and Baptiste are frozen. Now you're missing 2 members of your lineup. Mexico just looks to jump off the map, maybe not give any ult charge, but it's too far. It's too little too late. Nearly 2 minutes off the clock now. Finland looking strong.
Yeah, Clyde doing so much damage with that blaster and also connecting onto multiple people at once. So, like you said, really supercharging up that Blizzard charge. Pretty much the pacing that we would expect of a Sombra EMP, and that is something else. It really is an accomplishment, as we're going to see a Vestola trying now to deal with this flux. Doesn't have the accretion on cooldown, won't be able to cancel it. Now uses it to connect onto Castle so that he's pushed back and can't burn out the immortality field in time as Massa picks up the kill.
I mean, it seems like Team Mexico's kind of lost some faith in each other. They're a bit discombobulated at the moment. I mean, what do they do to regroup here? Got a minute 30 seconds left, Moxie. Does this death spiral just keep going?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Like, I would honestly just advise them to try and push the point as quickly as possible, right? Swap onto a Lucio, grab something like an Orisa to be able to survive the approach. You've got a Blizzard, throw it onto the point. At least you're going to be able to find some form of value. As keep an eye on Angel Velado, the Sojin has actually been able to infiltrate into that backline, and Finland might not have realized this.
No, they know. He's definitely back there. They're just like, does it really matter? Like, we don't really got to worry about that Sojourn at the moment. Now, they did what you said exactly as you advised, Moxie. They moved towards that point. A little bit of a distraction from Angel in that fight specifically. Now comes the artillery strike, though, after the Gravitic Flux hit. The Blizzard is here, but, like, Masa may get found. No, not even one kill for them after dropping that Blizzard. They did get a tick, though, with 40 seconds left. That's something to take away. But they still used a lot of ultimates, and Finland are still outnumbering them with that in that department.
Yeah, castled on the Orisa, goes for the Javelin throw to try and cancel the Flux, but it's not the damage from the Flux that you have to worry about. It's the fact you're all anchored in one position, and that's where Sauna really makes that artillery strike count. Mexico do have an amplification matrix with this Baptiste that might be able to buy them some space, but Finland closing up on a Blizzard, even if we hit into overtime, they have the better ultimates. They have more of the ultimates. They're going to win a sustained fight.
When they just try to charge in, a bit of a wasted window, unfortunately. Can't even use that one. Counter window comes through from Mickey. It's perfect. Now the Blizzard there to touch the point. Mexico full team wipe. Nobody's there to touch. Finland 2-0 in a very convincing fashion over Team Mexico.
Yeah, incredibly dominant. Like you said, Finland looking like one of the strongest teams in their group. They said that they're going to try to take the fight to Korea. They definitely have the means to be able to do so. If they play like they did, that dominantly, that coordinated, South Korea may well actually, I mean, they might not take a loss, but they might lose a map.
Yeah, I mean, that was... Maybe we'll have to see. I'm curious. I mean, that's going to be the matchup that everybody's looking forward to. Finland versus Korea in this group in particular. Later on, you know, obviously in this matchup, they look dominant, Moxie. I mean, Finland didn't look like they lost a step. I mean, with Vastola being in here, also Moss being in here, and then obviously carries with Sauna in their DPS lineup. This team looks strong as heck.
Cloud. Keep an eye on May plays. Keep an eye on May plays. When you look at the meta at the moment, yes, Sigma is incredibly strong. Yes, the Bastion does so much damage if you're not able to time your rotations and you fall afoul of the transformation, but it's these May players, because not only can they do so much damage with that primary doing 100 damage per second now, it's the walls. It's the fact that they can punish, they can block out so many win conditions for the other team. You look at Baptistes. What gets blocked by what gets blocked with a Maywall? Amplification matrix, but also immortality field line of sight. Every single time a Baptiste threw out a lamp, these May players are going to wait on their walls, block the line of sight on the lamp so that the kill goes through, and the Baptiste has wasted that ability as well. Really smart stuff coming through from all of our May so far today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, super smart stuff. We'll talk to some super smart people to break down what happened to that matchup. Desk, what do you have to say about that matchup between Finland and Mexico?